I think it's what comes to mind when you think of Cincinnati. Like, keywords.
Yeah, when I think of Cincinnati, I really think of a very community-oriented town. Representing the zoo, I go all over the tri-state, give talks, at church groups, business groups, everybody that's willing to listen. And people are proud of the neighborhoods they live in. If you go to Delhi, man, they love it. They're like, we don't need any Starbucks out here. We live in Delhi. People love the parts of town they live in and really take pride in it. And they love our teams. But I think about all the different communities. Wyoming, Ohio is where I really think of myself as living in Cincinnati because I lived there so long. Great people that get it together.
That's great. Where do you go for information about what's going on in Cincinnati? How do you find out?
Yeah, every day I look at the Enquirer's website, Cincinnati.com, and everybody knows the newspaper business is changing, but I think they still remain the go-to source of not only what happened yesterday here in the world of sports, but also here's a celebration of what's coming up. And you can get news, national news, anywhere on the web, but there's still a key role for the Enquirer in this community.
Okay. What was your first job in Cincinnati?
My first job was here at the Cincinnati Zoo. I was right out of grad school, started as an educator in the zoo's fledgling education department. And I'm proud of that program because back then, honestly, we just ran around and made it up as we went. And now they have a remarkable staff. We even have a PhD in biology in that program because we teach graduate classes. So it's been fun to see sort of the professionalization of that grow up here at the zoo. But they still have fun. Fun is fundamental in zoo education.
Okay, great. Favorite local band? I know you'll like this question.
Yeah.
You sound like quite the band connoisseur.
Well, I think probably my favorite local band is Jake Speed and the Freddies. Jake is an English teacher at Glen Estey High School. He sings local songs, and he's a phenomenon. And you can always see him main stage, Tunes and Blooms here at the zoo.
Okay, we just have a few more to go.
Sure.
What is your favorite way to give back, and where do you volunteer at?
That's nice. Over the years, I've been fortunate to be involved in a lot of different groups. But I'm a public radio guy. So WVXU, WGUC are part of Cincinnati Public Radio. And I think that, for me, really makes the connection of also connecting with the community in a way that's really a big part of people's lives. It's surprising to me how many people, when they hear my voice, recognize me from being on the 92nd Naturalist on those stations. And so that's been a rewarding thing, and kind of those are my people. I go down there every Tuesday afternoon and record those spots. We do little interviews as well for broadcasts. So that's always been a lot of
fun. 91.3 WVXU.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with $100,000? Perhaps what local charity would you donate it to?
Well, of course, anybody would know I'm a zoo guy, so I donated to the Cincinnati Zoo. We're in the middle of a capital campaign to build our biggest exhibit ever, an 8-acre exhibit called Africa. And we're doing it in phases because the economy slowed down. So we built a giraffe facility where you can feed giraffe, built a cheetah facility where you can see them run full blast. We're now finishing up a new lion exhibit, which will be great. After that, for 2014, will be a big open savanna with ostriches and antelope and flying birds, and eventually a great big pool for Nile hippopotamus. We have $17 million to go, so I'd throw the $100,000 in there.
Yes, perfect. That kind of touches on, so that's kind of what's coming up in the zoo. If somebody comes to the Cincinnati Zoo, what are the must-sees that you would recommend?
Well, I think if you come to the Cincinnati Zoo, a thing you'd be surprised by is over the years we have become a much more active rather than passive place. We have volunteers and staff out all over the grounds with animals. So you might be walking along and see someone with an owl or with a bear cat or with a kangaroo or with a giant snake where people can get up close to them, maybe take a picture, maybe sometimes even touch them. Trying to make the zoo a place that is both sort of surprising and inspiring. Our motto at the zoo is we want to inspire every visitor with wildlife every day. So that's a thing that's really different. A lot of people may have grown up at zoos when it was a sleepier experience. We'd walk along, but if you're in the middle of the day, it was in the middle of the summer, oh gosh, look, there's a sleeping cheetah. Oh wow, look, there's a sleeping camel. Because most animals are resting in the middle of So trying to have programs, shows, demonstrations, keeper talks makes it fun. In terms of what's coming up soon, late May of 2012, we're going to open our new Galapagos tortoise exhibit, which is neat, largest tortoise in the world. We are late June, at last weekend in June, going to open our Cat Canyon, which is phenomenal. New tiger exhibits, new snow leopard exhibit. That'll really be fun.
Cool.
And then next year, 2013, we're going to open a new African lion exhibit. So fun things ahead.
And then I think you have an event, I think 3 times this summer for something I think geared toward young professionals, something with wine, I think.
We do. We have Wild About Wine. And that has grown out of a really terrific program trying to tie the zoo's research program, which is CREW, the Center for Conservation and Research for Endangered Wildlife, with young people who might not know about it but maybe would be interested. So rather than say, please come to the zoo, and you can meet some scientists, and we'll all stand around, which would attract 3 people, instead we have a great big sort of wine festival, which is fun. So 3 of them are called Wild About Wine, and you pay, I think, $30. But when you come, you get wine tastings, but also little treat, snacks and things from local restaurants. So it really is a lot of fun. And each one's in a different part of the zoo. In addition, all throughout that party, there will be booths set up where our scientists are, and they'll talk about in vitro fertilization, and they'll talk about our plant propagation, and they'll talk about, how rhinos reproduce, and they might even talk about electroejaculation. So it's something. I mean, they get a crowd. Now, we have 2 others that are part of that series. One's called Zoo Brew, which is in the fall, and the other's called Zoo Teeny, which is you get little tastes of martinis. So they're fun, and it's a neat way to celebrate research and conservation at the zoo, but also get a big old crowd out.
Awesome.